everyone, to the Great Connect podcast. I'm Carrie Allen, your host and founder of the Human Array. And today I am joined by a dear friend, Ben Emery, who is founder of Concentrics Coaching. And I'm so excited for this conversation. Every conversation that I have with Ben is always enlightening, always fun, full of laughter. And so I can't wait to bring you into one of our conversations so that you can get to meet Ben and explore all the wisdom that he has to share with this world. Welcome, Ben.
That's a very kind intro. Thank you, Carrie.
You're so welcome. It's true. Because every time we chat, you always ask me a question that opens up perhaps a can of worms or a box of inspiration. And it's always exciting to me. Let's dive in. So we're here today to talk a little bit about the magic that you weave in this world. So give us a little bit of background because you work in the world of constellations, coaching, a lot of different methodologies. Share a little bit about not your whole life journey, but how did you weave all these things? Like, what inspires you to bring these methodologies into play?
I think that's a really real well-timed question for me because um, I've just been thinking lately that I find that I'm in the choreography business,
Mm.
and I'm just having kind of flashbacks as of late back to when I was adolescence is when it started, and we saw, we were allowed to borrow the family video camera.
Yeah.
And it was on the edge of right, a little large. But we would just, just do the most ridiculous stories that adolescent boys could think up of. And but so much, I had so much passion for the for the directing,
Mm.
which I see now in terms of choreography. It's like I didn't really have lines for my cast.
Yeah.
We did some ridiculous things that I hope the tapes never surface,
I was like, you may have just opened your own can of worms.
but there was something about it's like I don't care what you say, but I need Peter to walk in and the look on his face has to let us know that he just got his ass kicked. There's something about the choreography and the movement between spaces that I feel like could be sort of an arch of the work that I'm up to these days. And I guess the other piece of your question is, um, I didn't choose any of it. And a lot of the folks uh, who have sort of made it to that part of their life where they think, wait, maybe I'm not in the first half of my life. And for me, it was just one attempt after the next for the universe or law enforcement or whoever to snag me in some various booby traps, put me through gauntlets that I thought, this isn't fair. I shouldn't be having to do this or that. And always you come out the other end pulverized, but a little bit more open to what you were made for.
What you're making me think of is just kind of when you said the first half of life, right? Like that's like all the experience. My dad used to say, experience is what you get when you don't get what you want. And I can see that from multiple viewpoints now. And that's the first half of life, right? Is not getting what, or thinking that's not what you want. And now sitting in the second half, not quite yet. Let's give ourselves a little bit of grace. We're going to go longer than that, but um, I'm so grateful for not getting what I wanted because that would have been boring and easy. And now I have so much richness to build from. And I feel like what you're saying and how I think about your programs is that, right? Which is finding that richness through the hard stuff, I guess I would say.
And that's the fun, like this is the great news is that um all right, most of the phone calls I ever get are like some shit went down, and we've got there's trauma or PTSD, or there's a gang situation between these two groups of kids, and like it's the heavy stuff. But what I'm finding more and more, that even with that heavy stuff that comes, and I show up, and the people who show up, usually a group inside of a room or a call like this or something, they're ready to like go right into it. And you can totally flip the script. And you get people in a room who are like, the trauma's in the room with you. But you start on something that's so mundane,
Yeah.
you can flip it. And I guess what I'm getting at is that when the workshops, I find that we can actually go deeper, have more impact if in a workshop it's, let's say, a recent workshop we did was looking at the role that screen time plays in a family system. So there's a lot of like, from the parents, there's all this urgency, and I don't want to screw up my kid. The kids aren't there. Let's picture 10, mostly mothers, a couple dads, but they're coming with the urgency. They're coming with, I can't screw this up. I don't want to screw my kid up. And if you just start with, hey, I got good news and bad news. Um, the good news is your kid's already going to be screwed up. That's the good news. So then you just switch, and you totally undermine the agenda that they're bringing of how to save the day. And then we just set up a representative for, wait, we're all here because we feel threatened by this thing called a screen. Could everybody raise your hand if you have a screen on your person right now? All right, everyone take it out. You're holding your screen? Okay. Now I want you to have this conversation. Ready? Everyone hold the screen, look face to face, look in the eye contact. And then you start to talk to them like they know they talk to their teenagers. It's like, hey, eye contact, right? Hey, the, the screen's doing its job. You can actually have an intimate but goofy conversation that ends somehow in laughter and tears, because you hear because I'll say, repeat after me. I use you constantly. I need you constantly. And at every chance I get, I talk shit on you. Repeat after I have to say that? Yes, say it. And I don't know what comes after that. I didn't plan the workshop. We just work with whatever they brought in. And they brought in cell phones, talking about how shitty cell phones are.
Right? Like, would you talk behind their back? That's what you're doing in that moment, is you're talking behind their back, gossiping about this device that you adore and you spend all this time with, and yet I that's magical to me. What you're saying when you say that, like the only thing that keeps coming into my mind is like, and this is less funny, it's more uh we'll call it poetic, but I don't know that it's gonna be that. Which is, you come into a session with you, a group, a coaching, or whatever masterclass this may be, and it's like you come in wanting to solve a problem. And Ben says, oh, great, I hear your problem. We're going to put that over here. And then we're going to have this, what you think is a totally separate thing happen. But what's actually happening is we're not problem solving. We're or solution oriented, right? We're unwinding the problem at the root instead of focusing on the solution. And I think it's brilliant because that distraction technique disarms people and allows the truth to actually emerge.
Yeah, I find, like, I'm just speaking for myself now. I find that I'm on guard a lot. I'm I got my like ninja hands up, like, I can move through my day. If I'm not conscious, then I'm prone to trying to fending off something.
Yeah.
And we bring that, even if we're a relaxed person, people would think of me as a relaxed person, but I'm still coming at it like, how much of my day is trying to not be shanghaied, and we just bring that to just about everything, it seems.
Yeah. Okay. Let's bring it into this moment. Like, okay, I'm here doing a podcast with my dear friend Ben and wanting everything to make this the best podcast episode. Like, what would you do for me in this moment to help me break out of trying to make that happen?
Well,
Um,
do you have something, like do you have a pen in the area? Can you try to balance that thing just on your finger? I'll try to do it too. Okay. So I'll take your challenge and see if you're able to say, just kind of finish the sentence, be like, in order to really kick ass today as a podcast host, just repeat after me.
in order to really kick ass today as a podcast host,
I actually need to strike a balance
I actually need to strike a balance
between X on the one hand and Y on the other. Now you can just take a minute to think what what the balancing act is for you. It might be, man, I gotta be a good timekeeper, but also I want to like just let go of time and just take a second. Like, what would two? I might have named it. That's fine, but
I'll say between uh, interviewing perfectly so that I extract all the amazingness from Ben and just flowing and having an amazing conversation because every conversation we have is amazing.
so okay. So I'm gonna tweak. Perfection's got a bad it's got a bad PR campaign right now. So I'm gonna say you could it be like I really want to get as close to perfect as possible. Would that be?
Okay, yeah.
I'm just trying like I don't
Yeah.
want to give perfection a bad rap. We
Okay.
could put perfection, and then the other one was I just want to. Was it flow?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna do. You keep balancing.
Okay.
All right.
I'm balancing.
I'm just gonna step out of my I'm Ben, but I'm right now I'm gonna just kind of try to see if I can't step into the roles of these two things. So I'm gonna be perfection first. This really wanted to get as perfect as possible. I'm actually changed my chair because I'm facing this other half of me that's flow. So this conversation is gonna be between the striving for something that's close to perfect and flow. They're just having a chat. And if you listen, you have any objection to that?
No.
So I'm the part of Carrie that really wants to just give me a second. Yeah. From this position, I can say there's so much at stake. It doesn't feel it's not threatening. It's like there's so much beauty to be had. It would break my heart if we fell short of greatness because I've seen greatness, I've tasted it, and I really want to get. I want the folks who are listening to nod their heads because they feel something in their body. I want them to sigh because their body gets some relief. I want this to come through the radio and people to feel something. I'm going to switch over to flow. You just did it. I I'm so proud of you, perfection. It's like you don't even see how good you are. You're flowing right now. You're being by stating your longing instead of getting all strategic, trying to make it happen. You just claimed your this deep longing. I want to nail it. I want the best for the folks who are listening. I want to kick some butt because I'm full of love. I just love people. So I wish you could see that. I wish you were able to see yourself from my perspective. And I feel like I'm getting what I need right now because we're having a conversation finally, instead of you trying to run out in front of the cart. And I'm just like the horse in front of the cart thing. Like we're together right now. I love that I love that dimple you have and the comb over. You're great. So the dimple and the comb over was I'm talking to Ben's face. Those people. Yeah. So maybe we stop there before we. But then the next piece of this, I would say, carry the host. You hold that pen. Two hands. You might hold one side and the other like like a pizza dough roller. And could you repeat after me? Let's just say that that left arm is what's left? Left brain, right brain. I think the right arm is flow and the left arm is perfection. I think that's right. We'll say
It's the opposite. Left.
opposite. Okay. Then you know which. And you might just, as Carrie the host, you might just say this to that part of you that wants to nail it and that part of you that knows how to flow, go with the flow. And you're going to speak to the two of them because normally they can't speak. So just repeat after me if you would. Yeah. Oh, I needed that.
Oh, I needed that.
I, with Ben's help, I can kind of see you guys.
With Ben's help, I can see you guys.
Normally you're right here and I don't see you.
Normally you're right here, and yet I don't see you.
That's probably hard for you guys
That's probably hard for you.
because you're constantly working on my behalf
Because you're constantly working on my behalf.
and you're like geniuses.
And you're geniuses.
And what a relief for me to be able to see that you do everything you do without me.
And to see that you do everything that you do without me.
And I get to it's because you love me.
It's because you love me.
That's insane.
That's insane.
So, end scene.
I was like, he's gonna keep going and I'm gonna get I mean, even when you stepped into the perfection and just voiced what was in the room with us and for me in particular, like I did that sigh. Like I released that. Oh, I am. Like I have so many expectations and hopes and dreams for just the most magnetic and beautiful conversation. I'm actually holding way too tight to that. And so the thing I just kept hearing is just let go. Just let go. Just let go. Easier said than done. But I do my best to channel Elsa as much as I can.
No, I mean, our time together, I feel like, that's why I refer people to you. The people that I refer to you because um, you can hold a hard line, and a lot of people will hold a vision, hold a hard line, but you can let go of that instantly when you think, all right, this isn't actually what's needed right here. I'll switch.
Yeah.
So it's like my body can trust you because I have the sense someone's at the helm. But then when you actually do change course, it's not, oh, this isn't like fluttering self-doubt. It's like, no, no, there's better winds. We're going to change course.
Yeah. Ah, thank you for that. I really received that. Yeah. It's interesting. I heard something this morning. It just keeps echoing in my head, so it needs to be said apparently. So we'll see where this goes. Which is humans need volcanic activity to actually create change, to change at a faster rate. And
Well,
I heard this statement in a conversation in a podcast, and I literally laughed out loud because it's so obviously true. And yet absurd at the same time, right? Which is like, yeah, I literally need the volcano to erupt to be like, this house we shouldn't be here. Why are we even still here, right? But oh, the volcano had to push lava down and onto my house, eradicate the whole thing for me to actually do the thing that I know deep down that I should be doing. And as I'm like saying that, that's so much of what I think you evoke out of people without requiring the volcano, even if the volcano is kind of erupting, right? It's like, but we need that. Like, cool, great. Let's do it before you get covered in ash.
I think you nailed it. Like, there's no way around that, it seems, for modern civilized humans, is that it's more true now than ever before because it's kind of I think the center of my focus is that how do you proceed in a culture that who the name of the game is every man for himself, even in the kumbaya spaces and self-help, self-development, self-growth, self-esteem. So how does one proceed if the water that you swim in is it's like the benchmarks of success are all, am I enlightened enough? Am I growthed enough? Yeah, you're covered in growths with all this self-growth. Um, Look, it's necessary at the beginning levels. It's like the adolescence of if you weren't born into a culture that has functional ritual and ceremony and just a vocabulary for the cadences of cycle,
Yeah,
then yeah, the self development space it's crucial.
yeah,
But like for the first 4 minutes of a 60-minute hour.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, right? Like what I'm thinking of as you say that is like there is a value to aspiration, right? To see somebody and want to say, ooh, that evokes something in me. I want to be like them, or like that modeling for each other. But as you went deeper into that, into the ritual and the ceremony, we didn't we didn't close the loop on that. And the ceremony and the ritual allow you to close the loop on each of those chapters to be able to say, okay, great.
That's really well said. That built into a successful uh, coaching, therapy, uh, what are these? Even a 12-step group.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak generally for any of them, but built into it should be its own ending.
Yes.
And to refer to my dear teacher, Stephen Jenkinson, he said, good luck knowing how to create endings in a culture that is ending phobic.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
After you respond to this, can I tell a story? I'm putting that in. Now, please respond. I see.
Yeah, you got your time slot. Okay. Yeah, like what that connects to me is like I mean, so many things, but ultimately, like the fear of death, and that actually it's if we there's so many deaths in a lifetime, so many versions of self that we move through, and yet if we don't let go of the past versions, we just keep dragging them along like this big bag of boulders that we got, right? It's like how can we find acceptance with the passing of those chapters so that we can let the boulder live where it's meant to live rather than keep dragging it with us. And yet, what's so true, like we don't want to grieve. We want to be happy. You said this to me once, which is like, at least in Germany, that, all emotions are okay. In America, we're all like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Emotion, sure, 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 those are okay, but get to back to happy. Like, how do we get back to the happy? And it's like, but that is actually diminishing the fact that all these are okay. And I think grief is one of them, that we don't actually allow the process of grief through these closing of chapters, right? That we don't ceremony it, we don't ritualize it, and so we don't actually process it. And so, so many of us end up 40 plus years into this being like, I got my bag of boulders of all the people I've been before that I can't seem to let go in order to be this version of me,
Oh, that's a powerful metaphor, powerful visual.
right? That's what you're evoking for me. And it's like, we gotta get to a place where we can close those chapters. And I think that's what you're saying and evoking is like, okay, how can we hold space for that? Verbalize it because so often we don't. We just, it's just that happened.
Well, I changed my idea about the story
Okay.
here. And so as you know, I part of my work is to work with school districts. I'm in Germany right now, but to work in school districts in the States to set up what's now sort of colloquial in schools, but restorative practices. And long story short, what that means is like, hey, we have a punishment system of discipline. Kid screws around in class, we kick him out, and he's welcome back in class when he acts a certain way, normal. And there's not much. It's the problems, the conflicts, the weirdnesses are all outsourced, and then they're sent right back in because as if relationships just don't exist in the classroom. So, but the kids, they're really smart. They say the teachers ask, can you set up a system so that we're doing this restorative practices thing? We all have the buzzwords. We don't have to send kids out of class. We get the class to work it out itself. Great. And they say we don't have any systems for addressing, uh, you know, sorrow, conflict. And I say, actually, if you look around, there's really well-established systems. And the main one is called the school nurse, because a child, and this is not an exaggeration, where I was working with a group of fifth grade boys, and they just happened to tell me, by the way, I asked for the six toughest kids in the class because they said we got a problem during COVID. Normally we have two boys who are bouncing off the walls. Now we have about 12 in each of the fifth grade classes. I said, look, give me like the toughest kids. Through that one encounter, the boys reported to me. I said, how is it? How is it in school? Like how is, give me an example of how things work out. He says, well, last year dad died. I came to school and I feel kind of angry now. I said, okay. Because I just met these boys and I said, I'm interviewing you. You guys are the experts in the justice system here. You've gone through to the principal more than any other boys. It must be working. Something must be working really well. What's so great about the system that you want to keep going to the principal's office? Like, just help me understand. And we flipped the script and they're answering this question. Is this guy serious? You know, and then like, but you love, like, you obviously love it. What happens in the principal's office that makes you want to keep going there? So through this conversation, 45 minutes later, this boy tells me, Dad dies last year. I come to school. All right, help me understand what happened next. What happened the day after you came back? Well, we did math. Well, when you came into the class, something happened. Yes, yes. The teacher said, "Welcome back, Timmy. Um, there's a feelings corner. You are absolutely welcome to use the feelings corner. But over here is like the math space. So we're going to do math. But if you can't figure out a way to fit in, then there's a corner where we will send you off to." I'm being dramatic. The teachers do this all from a place of love.
Yeah.
And those boys, I asked the boys to define the ceremony that should have happened. And they did it better than any adult could have.
Of course.
So what was the thing that needed to happen? Because I told these kids, I said, the school district hired me to build a new justice system, but I haven't been in fifth grade for like 30 years. So I forget a lot of stuff. Can you tell me what should have happened the day you came back? You were having a bad day. Oh no, your dad died. You spent the next 3 days, and then after the calm corner, you used up all your calm corner tokens. Then they send you to the office to get, because your grief has a shelf life, and so we can send you back to class and focus on what's important, like fractions. So what should have happened? Those guys described exactly better than anything I could have come up with. So if you want to talk about, we don't live in a society that's devoid of um, ceremony. The ceremonies exist, but they're mostly dismemberment ceremonies,
Mhm.
dismemberment rituals. And what I call PTSD is actually a cultural mandate that stands for push that shit down.
Ah, yeah.
If you disobey that cultural mandate, there is real consequence. There is punishment. There's
Yeah.
exile. I could I could go into that.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
started all this with a school nurse.
Yes.
The
I'm like, oh,
kids,
I can go down that path. Let's take it. Okay, maybe that's part two.
the kids know something, and they know that when dad dies, you cannot share that openly in a group. Oh, by the way, I noticed that I'm really having trouble thinking about math today. You can't even say that
No.
without threat of exile. So they say my tummy hurts. They go to the school nurse. Every school knows this. Every school nurse knows this, that she or he is the one who makes a place for the thing that has no place. And they say, no, we need a system. I said, slow down. Let's take one step back. Your school has a system. It is a mature system. What do I mean by that? It means that it works. It means that the students continue to perpetuate it. The teachers continue to perpetuate it. That's what you call a functional system, almost like a functional alcoholic. They use the word functional for a reason.
Yeah.
So I didn't expect to go down that way, but this is the stuff we are swimming in, let alone our kids.
Yeah. Well, and that I'm glad we ended up in this pool that we're all swimming in every day, right? Because this is the reality. And this is why the volcano has to erupt. Like that kid has to have a volcanic experience to be able to be seen, for somebody like you to be able to be called, to start the long path to dismantling or unwinding, not even dismantling, right? Because it isn't all bad. Like you said, there are things in there that are functioning. And when we hear it from that third person perspective, which I think is what so much of what your work does, is it allows us to discharge our personal agendas, experiences, perspectives, solutions, right? We can then step into this third person experience and be like, oh, holy, I did not see that.
Yeah.
And it, to your point of, you didn't say it exactly this way, but what I saw is like we're all swimming with sharks, or that's the perception that we have, right? That we're all swimming with sharks. So anytime we come into, and I'm sure that you can speak to this, and I would certainly love that reflection, but as you come into these spaces where we're all wanting to improve something or do something better or fix something, we all come in as sharks
Wow.
and perceive everybody as sharks, right? We come in with that expectation. Well, they need to know, right? Like, so we're all sharky rather than saying, wait, there's something in the middle here that's calling us here. How can we give a voice to what's in the middle to diffuse the energy so that we can really get to like the reason we're all here.
Yeah, what did the car accident, what is it asking of us?
Yeah.
What is the tornado asking of us? What is the divorce or dad skipped town or the glaucoma. What is it asking of the group?
Yeah. Yeah.
And us, we hear, dominant culture, North Americans will hear what's it asking of us. They think, oh yeah, I know what that means. What is it asking it me individually? Well, what if the us is literal? What is it asking of the us? And
Mhm.
a prerequisite to that, to answering that question is usually determining, is there an us?
Who is us?
It's a
Yeah.
beautiful starting place. Like, to lead with your poverty, saying, I'm not entirely sure that there's an us, and I'm scared about saying that. I'm scared if it's true. I'm scared if it's not true, because that might obligate me. And it might slow down this entitlement that I can just, you know, burn as much, burn as much fuel as I want and party, like I'm scared if there's an us, if I actually have ties that bind, or at least ties that have consequence. And it's a good place to start.
Yeah. 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 Oh, yeah. I mean, I've lived that experience. So much of what you share like resonates deeply with me in my personal experience. And yeah, what I just feel in that is, oh, well, if I say I want to be part of us, will I be allowed? Do they want me? Oh, are there obligations that come along with that? Can I handle that? Will I be held? Right? We don't have this infrastructure of understanding how to be an us. I don't actually have to carry, or this could be my personal experience. I don't want to project this onto everybody, but oh, I'll have to carry all the weight then. I'll have to, it'll require so much of me for the us to happen. I'll just let them be us and I'll be outside us. Why are we not, I don't know. I mean, it just evokes so many things for me personally that's like, do your part, people. Just as our lovely do your job, Bill Belichick would say. Do your job, right? Like you got to figure out what your job is. Like what do you, which I think is the real root if I were to go deeper, right? Like, okay, yes, there's this us. But when we step into this us, then we got to figure out who we are and what do we want to contribute? Are we capable? And I think to me, that often brings up so many insecurities for people. I don't want to be that. That's that's digging deep for me.
I think you're onto it, because let's come back to the coaching thing. Like you could imagine that, just from a purely coaching point of view, that people are referred to me because when you get them on the phone, they tell, hey, this is up, and can you coach me? And they don't, I know, almost never agree to it on the one-on-one.
Yeah.
Say, look, we're gonna tell you what, if I see you got some skin in the game, we'll get you into this group cohort that we got.
Yeah.
It's specifically wrestling this thing, and we'll do a group thing. But the coaching space, which I hope everyone gets themselves a coach or a therapist or account, like go that route. Like I said, it's crucial, but only for a time. But that the coaching thing specifically is saying, can you help me optimize?
Mhm.
And the great thing about, again, I just name it concentrics. What I'm trying to do to actually undermine the whole paradigm is that if coaching is trying to optimize the individual, I'm like, I'm not against that, but I'll use all of my energy to observe the space around that individual and between the other individuals. It's just like if you're watching soccer, a really good soccer player is not watching players. They're
Yeah.
what they're feeling the space. It's like the difference between, you know, looking at a school of fish and you're trying to track one fish. That's pretty dizzying. But if you watch the school of fish, it's like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that difference.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure where I'm going with that exactly. But
No, I know where I'm going to take you there because what I feel very much is that this is why the power of group coaching or group experiences and your groupology that you're launching this summer, later this summer and into the fall, is the container that helps you take your self-development out into the world, right? Like, great. You've started to identify your own patterns, you know yourself better. That's amazing. That's really important. And by the way, every day you walk out into the world and get reflections constantly of yourself, what you have or haven't done. And instead of going back into your little box where you work on yourself only to be able to handle all those reflections. That's important to understand, to be able to process them, move through them 100%. But you can't ultimately only live in your little tunnel or box. And so coming into a group space where, hey, actually the intention is to learn how to be together, that's social well-being, right? Because that's what we need to move into is not just, okay, I'm good. It's, wait, how do I be with others in this space, knowing who I am and being able to operate fully, wholly, and operate as a whole? And that's like next level well-being and next level development because that's how you actually move through the world. So you just can't bifurcate those two things. And I think what you do is you bring them together by creating a safe space to practice. And once you've started practicing in a group, supporting yourself and the whole at the same time, you can gather. You can be in groups. You can affect change in the world because you're more grounded and supported in that experience that is truth rather than siloed. That's how I see it, at least.
you got there's a heavy emphasis on and I catch myself doing it too, is a heavy emphasis on the primacy of connection in our spaces, the spaces that you and I both work with. But more and more I'm finding myself that's a bit like it's almost like in a church setting where you have to sign on the dotted line that you have faith. And a lot of people sign before that's, or if that ever is true for them. It's like, I know in order to belong, I've got to have professed that I believe something.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, belief is really kind of overrated. You don't actually, if you visit any group of people that's still living indigenously on the planet who hasn't been swallowed up yet, and they'd be like, they would turn the question on us like, well, you civilized people have spent a lot. You guys are really invested in the belief thing. They don't have belief. They have arrangements. They have choreography.
Yeah. They just
And
are, right? They just be.
yeah, and I think it's be plural.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And the connection thing, I'm realizing is kind of like that faith piece. Like go into any school and even like certain organizations that I will work with. You see the posters, the shiny posters on the wall, like connection, support. And I just asked the question, like, where does that show up in practice?
Mhm. Mhm.
And what you'll have is like, well, we skip the middle piece. We don't actually want to have contact between humans. We'll just skip to the connection. And I'm saying ask less of yourselves. Can you get humans into a room and make contact?
Yeah.
And we don't know if connection will result.
Right. Right. And it doesn't have to, right? Like you could say, "Great. This was an amazing experience. I'm all set here." Like that's okay. You don't have to be friends with everyone. It doesn't mean you should be rude or mean or angry or any of those things like towards them if they haven't done anything to you, but it's okay, just like our boulders, letting go, like, okay, I had this experience. This was great. I don't need to carry it on my back that I did something wrong just because I didn't meet my best friend and like become part of this group like that, right? We kind of almost create a assumption for ourselves that we have to connect.
I'm not sure where it's coming from, but I think that story from before is coming up, if I may.
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
So this is I'm like I said, I'm in Germany right now. This is my second try. We raised the kids here for 7 years, and then we're 5 years in the States, starting with COVID. And I'm back in Deutschland. And in my first round, I was working with the Child Protection Agency, and they have a special law here where if the state deems that they have a really uh, um, acute danger and they say we're going to take the child out of the home, they have to go through there's a piece of legislation that says, okay, except in the very, very worst circumstances, you have to take 6 weeks to see if you can't jumpstart the family system, get things working. So the state would already say, we want this kid out. But then they turn to me and a female partner and say, you got 6 weeks and we're taking the kid at the end. We've already kind of decided that, but you got 6 weeks, see what you can do. So crazy. It was just, it was, you could write a book on that thing. But I was thinking of one case where it wasn't quite like that. There's a lot of Turkish immigrants in Germany, in this part of Germany, after the Second World War. There wasn't men, and trainloads of Turkish and Italian men came north to rebuild the German cities, and they stayed. They raised families, and there was one case that where the mother had been prevented from seeing her kids for several years of Turkish heritage. And it was clear after a while she had two children who were in the foster system. They loved mom. The mother loved the kids. And it was my job to accompany them when they were meeting and be the social worker generally. After a while, it became very clear that this mother was wronged by the state. She herself had been in foster care and was horribly abused. And it was just some hearsay, some kind of gossip that led her children to be taken away. And after several months working with the family, a wedding came up. And there was a Turkish wedding here in Dusseldorf. And I was gonna said, yeah, let's get the kids to the wedding, even if the mom can't be there, but like let's get the kids to the wedding. That's their world, their people, 500 people. And it went through all this. I mean, I fought tooth and nail and finally said, okay, if you need to happen, it's a Saturday night. I will pick up the kids. I will take them there. We'll stay till 2 in the morning and I'll bring them back to the foster care. All this happened. It was a beautiful wedding, by the way. And in the middle, remember, I'm the American. Everyone's laughing because this guy is here in his suit, and everyone knows the story. What these kids are, they just want to be with mom. It was magic to see the 500 people pick these children up whenever they could. I was like, this is all they need. They don't need, if you're worried, they don't need mom in the sense that, you know what I mean? They
Yeah.
need that and they have it and they're begging to have their children back in the village. What do I need to do? I was writing anything I could in report. Meanwhile, in the middle of this wedding, I didn't know this was a tradition. Someone pulls out a gun, fires it into the ceiling. I jump from the table, run and grab the boy, grab the girl, and start running for the exit. Like, this is American. These Americans. Of course, it's the army, the American. So anyway, this thing goes great. The kids have this new sense of possibility. Like I am a part of something that's bigger than what the welfare state tells me. Blah blah blah. We get back to work on Monday, have some follow-up meetings, and the woman who's kind of like the legal spokesperson for these children stands up in a big round. There's maybe 10 professionals, state represent, people working for the state. And she makes this argument like she's basically saying this is all bullshit. The state knows best. And in that moment, I knew I was going back to the States, so it's not as heroic as it sounds, but I just staked everything. I said, this is these children and the mother. Their suffering is the consequence of what just came out of your mouth. And I was harsh to her, but I could have said something like this. Your misunderstanding is not an accident. Your misunderstanding about the nature of how humans gather in proximity is the consequence of generations of being on the receiving end of colonization.
Yeah.
The thing we call Europe,
Yeah.
the thing we call Europe is itself a colonized place.
Yeah.
That because we're on the other end of that, we're like, no, I don't know, white people, we're civilized, whatever. We're we're Europeans. Like there is no history, there's no culture. But tell me what happened to the offspring of the indigenous of Europe.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of that came up in one meeting about one family. It all surfaced in that boardroom.
Yeah.
I couldn't really contain myself.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm here 5 years back, and I ran into some of the old colleagues. The boy is studying medicine.
Oh,
The girl is following, so she's like a lawyer or something,
oh,
on track to be a lawyer. And the family's back together, and everybody, every time they see me, they just let me know it's just celebration all around. Like things are going great for them. Of course.
yeah. They're with their people. Yeah. Ugh. What a gorgeous story. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Man, I feel like that just puts the candle or the cherry on top of this whole conversation because that's it, right? That's it. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to go so many places. So you'll have to come back because this went in so many different places that I was like, don't go down that rabbit hole. Let's save that for a different conversation because it's a beautiful rabbit hole. And I want to have it, and I know that we absolutely can, but this feels like such a great conversation as I let go and I balanced and let go a little bit more. Um, to invite people into what you do, the magic that you weave that is hard to put into words, and yet the magic that you feel in these conversations, in these spaces that you hold, doesn't need words. It's way bigger than words. And, I let a little bit go of the perfectionist because I could feel all that magic in this conversation. And that's my whole goal is just to introduce the world to the amazing magic that you weave because it's shifted so much for me personally. And you could go on with stories endlessly of the ripples of impact that you've had. And I also want you to see that too, because you create great ripples in this world. And I'm so grateful to be connected to you.
That's really sweet. I feel my whole body's kind of like feeling 2 inches prouder having to hear you say that.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Perfection is achieved.
Hey, look, I owe a lot to that part of you. I owe that perfectionist part of you. I know some of the circus tents you try to pop up in the like the planets you're building, and the perfection, like I said, they got a bad PR firm right now, but
Yeah. No,
I see their longing for I just want to have impact. So that's
thank you. It's true. And I think it's really you said it and I really received it is like that part of me holds the vision. And so then it's the perfectionist that helps me know when the winds are shifting, right? Like, that's not quite perfect enough. Let's go a little bit this direction. So it doesn't need a bad rap. It's really it's I read something that was saying We don't need more thermometers. We need more thermostats, because thermostats adjust to what's happening in the environment. And yeah, I'll take that. I'd happily be a thermostat. Keep adjusting. This was
Well,
amazing.
thanks for the volcano.
Oh yeah, volcanoes, thermostats. What other we talk in so many metaphors. It makes me laugh. By the end of our conversation, we've covered mountains and winds and birds and all the things, and it's just I love it. I love it. Thank you, Ben, for being here today and sharing a little bit of your wisdom and playing and just going off the cuff, because I knew that that would weave magic for us, and allowing me to step in and step out actually was perfect. So thank you so much.
And can I just say, because um, I selfishly want to really enjoy myself. Um, Please like put the link or whatever so to the groupology. It's not a training. I'll call it a course. I'll call it a training. I'll call it a mastermind. That's all bullshit. It's just showing up and saying, who wants to work what?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like,
Oh,
what are you wrestling with? What wakes you up at 4 in the morning in the dark and you worry about until 8 in the morning and you go work out? Like who wants to work something? And we get in there and we'll laugh. It's whether you laugh more or cry more. I don't make promises about either.
yeah. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yes. I am so excited for Groupology to go live, for this to be a space for people, because it is just that, this invitation to bring whatever's real for you in that moment and work through it. And so Groupology, Concentrics, your website, wherever people can find you will be posted in the description of this episode, because you're going to want to meet and connect with Ben. I promise it will create great shifts for you. And until next time, this was another episode of the Great Connect podcast. Thank you so much, Ben, for being here, and we'll see everybody next time.
Thank you.